What is going on, everybody? Thanks for tuning in. Welcome to my YouTube channel. On my first episode, I know a lot of you tattoo artists out there have been asking and wondering about the epson printer to make the big boy stencils. And on this episode, I'm going to teach you how to use it, where you can get it, and how to set it up. Let's go. Where can you buy the printer? Hit the link right here. If you're in the USA, go straight to Amazon and you can buy it. Also, I know some of you guys are not in the US, like Australia, for example. I've been talking to a few of you, and apparently it's really expensive to get this printer in Australia because of shipping. But my boy Peter just told me that you can actually buy it there for the same price as in the US, but it's a different series, so it's gonna have a different number. And the number, I have it right here in this paper. So this is going to be the series, what you want to look for if you're not in the USA. If you're having trouble trying to get this printer in your country and you can't seem to find it and the shipping is too expensive, most likely you'll have to get this one right here. It's the same printer, just different number, but it'll work the same for you. So try that out. A few questions that people have been asking is like, what kind of paper do we use and what kind of ink do we get, things like that. So on this episode, I'm going to also talk to you about what you need to get this baby working so you can get some large scale stencils like this. Take a nice look at that. That is what the paper is called. The size of this paper is 24 inches by 80 yards. So this will last you a long time. I printed out many back pieces with this. So this printer will print out a stencil 24 inches wide by however long you want. So you can get a bodysuit stencil made in one sheet, save a lot of time. Later on, I'm gonna make a video on how to apply the stencil on the body because we're not using the regular stencil stuff. You cannot use Dettol. You have to use a different brand of stencil stuff, which I'll explain later. Nico Hurtado stencil stuff, the anchor stuff, that stuff works good. But I'll get into a video about that later and show you different things you can use. This is the ink you want to use. I'm pretty sure you can get this in most tattoo supply stores. This is the inkjet stencil stuff. Cap included, which you'll put this little cap in here, and this is how we're gonna fill up the printer. Now this is the cool thing about this printer. This printer doesn't detect all the cartridges being empty. We can just fill up the black cartridge with this stencil ink right here, and that will get the stencil stuff onto this paper. So come over here and I'll show you how to put it in here. Very important. It's very important that you put the ink in the printer before you turn the printer on when you take it out of the box. I had a problem with it when I first got mine, and I turned the printer on, ran the cycle without putting the ink on, and guess what? I had to return my printer and buy a new one. You're gonna get the little bottle. You're gonna pop it in there. Just like that. You can see that being filled up. When you first do it, you want to fill it up to the third line, not all the way up. Once it's up to the level that you want, just basically pop this out. Clean the extra ink that might have fell down. Pro tip, make sure when you print, you do double the layer so it's darker, and that way you get more ink in the stencil. Because you have to understand, you're printing this ink onto the tracing paper that's then going on the body. So the darker your image is, the more ink there's going to be on the paper, the better the stencil is going to be. Once you do that, you put this little cap back on and you close it up. Okay, now the next step, which is the hardest and the most frustrating part about this printer, is to insert the paper in the printer. Take these two pieces out of the printer and put the paper roll inside of these two pieces, with the black side being on the right side and the clear side being on the left side. You gotta make sure that you cut a perfect straight edge on the paper. One way I like to do it is to get an X-Acto blade and pull the paper right up to this edge, hold it or have someone hold it on this side if you have trouble doing it by yourself, and then just cut a perfect line through that paper. Boom. You want to make sure you have a perfect cut, no edges, because if not, the paper will get stuck and then you'll have to pull it out. You have to open up this thing and get in there and pull out each little piece of paper individually. Don't worry, your printer's not broken. It's happened to me before. Just have patience and pull it out little by little. Once you get that in there, you're going to pull the paper out. You're going to roll it out a little bit. And you're going to slide it in that little groove. Once you fill the paper in, you're going to close this tray. You're going to select the paper. You're going to go paper. You're going to go paper type. When you select the paper type, make sure you select 10 and then hit OK. And it's going to do this little thing right here. It's gonna do this little thing. Sometimes it might do that and it means you have to redo it again. Set paper. Like I said, this is the frustrating part, and I actually took the paper out to demonstrate to you guys how to do this. So if you can please smash that like button, I'll appreciate it. Let the good YouTube gods know that people are watching and that this video is important for some of us. Gonna make the paper come out from the front 3 times. So make sure you just kind of keep that nice and straight. Keep your ears open in case you hear any paper jams. It's gonna do a little bit of tucking. Just like that. When you load the paper, sometimes the paper will come out 2 to 3 times depending on how crumble or wrinkled the paper is in the back. Because I took the paper out for you and I had the perfect cut and everything was cut perfect and the paper was nice and snug. It only came out 1 time and then it went back in and now the paper is loaded. So once you got everything ready to go and you got your drawing done, you're going to ask yourself, how do I print this, Manny? Well, here's how you do it. So you got to make sure that the width is always 24 inches. I mean, I've been using this printer for over a year now and I still made that mistake, so it's okay if you make it too, don't worry. Because the original drawing was 19 by 40. Now when we're gonna go and print it out, we're gonna make a canvas size and we're gonna go inches and we're gonna go 24 by 40 and we're gonna create. Now we're gonna insert a photo right there and now we're gonna fit to page. Make sure the image is flipped. Now we're gonna go to share JPEG, select the printer, go to preset black and white, and you're gonna make sure you select 24 by 39.8, which our canvas size was 24 by 40, but we're actually trying to get an image that's 19 by 37, so it should fit perfectly inside of there. We'll go back to options. Everything looks good to go. Just hit print and just like that, it's exporting. You're gonna wait for the printer to receive the icon of printing.
I'm sorry, we're gonna do a video?
No, you're good. It's called editing, Doug.
Oh, excuse me, man. That's like you new age.
Boop, boop, boop. So now that the signal's coming, we just sit back and wait and save about 45-35 minutes For you slower guys, maybe an hour of your time making a stencil. And if you don't line that stencil up straight, you're gonna have to waste another hour, my boy. So get yourself an epson printer and stop playing around. Or get yourself an epson printer so you have time to play around, you know what I'm saying? We're getting a full back piece 40-inch stencil like that. And just like that, we made ourselves a full back piece stencil. Easy peasy. You can have so much fun with this printer. I'm gonna show you how the stencil came out on my client so you guys can take a look at the quality of the stencil. And as you can see here, the stencil looks solid, nice and dark. Make sure to duplicate your layers so you get lots of ink on that stencil. And it looks great, it doesn't smear. I hope that this video was helpful, and subscribe to my channel. I'm gonna be dropping all kinds of knowledge on tattooing and drawing and things that will help everyone out to hopefully give back to tattooing.